Today we are going to be taking a look at the best and also the worst weapons in Fortnite Chapter 2, as this brand new season has not only removed over 25 different items, but left us with a selection of old and new weapons that have had a lot of changes to them that actually make them a lot different to how they used to be. In this video, we're going to be working away from the worst, the 15th placed weapon, all the way up to the number 1, the best weapon that I believe in Fortnite Chapter 2 that you should definitely be using. One big change with the new chapter is that every weapon now goes from the grey to legendary rarity. So I've actually split up all of the weapons into 2 groups. The first group being grey, green and blue, and then the second group being epic and legendary, as all of the weapons have a different visual to them, but also different stats to them when they start to get to that better end of the scale. I'm also going to be including some tips for you guys to help aim better and shoot better with the brand new seasons. If you guys are new around here, subscribe to the latest Fortnite Chapter 2 news and smash that thumbs up button within the next 5 seconds if you want to get yourself a legendary weapon out of your very next chest. Good luck. Let's jump into the list, starting off at number 15. The pistol. Now don't get me wrong, the pistol can be a very useful weapon, but focusing just on the grey, green and blue variant, it hasn't really changed since its original form. This does, however, have a new variant towards the top end of the scale, which we'll be looking at later on in the list. But if you land and you pick up this weapon, you probably would rather have found something else on this list, which is unfortunately why the pistol does get the bottom spot. Number 14, a little bit of a shocker here. We have both the epic and legendary sniper. The reason I factored them into the 14th slot is because of their rarity scale and actually the fact that they've been changed. So previously in Fortnite, we had the epic and legendary slot filled with the heavy sniper. With that being removed from the game, you'd hope that the new epic and legendary sniper slot would be just as good. Unfortunately, it does not deal anywhere near the 150 base damage that the heavy snipers used to, and since it is so much rarer, the damage difference between the lesser rare versions doesn't really matter. So as a result, apart from looking really, really cool and reloading a little bit quicker, there's not much reason to pick them up over the other variants, which you'll see later on in the list. So unfortunately, unless they decide to bring the heavy sniper back, these things just look cool and that's about it. At number 13, we have the pump. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people do not realize this. The pump has had a significant nerf. Its base damage to the body is a lot less than it was previously in Fortnite Chapter 1, meaning that even if you pick up a blue version of the pump and you get every single bullet on the body of an enemy, it's only going to do 90, which means unless you are consistently hitting headshots with this thing, it is not going to take people out instantly. As a result, with the fact that it is slower to fire and a little bit clunkier than the tactical shotgun, there's been a big switch up in which shotguns you should be picking up, especially at the beginning of the game, putting the pump a lot lower on the list. At number 12, the return of the burst. As much as I love the look of this new burst assault rifle, it is essentially a reskinned version of the original burst assault rifle, which some people liked. And don't get me wrong, if the RNG of the burst actually goes in your favor and you get headshots, this thing can be really, really good. But at the beginning of the game, if you land and find a burst and you're in a gunfight with somebody up close, you're gonna probably lose because of the fact it's a little bit of a slower fire rate and not very accurate, especially from the hip. Now don't forget, the burst has got brand new variants at the top of the list, which again we'll be looking at later, but unfortunately this is where it sits for the moment. At number 11, beating it out slightly, we have the standard assault rifle, your go-to weapon, which has always been great. The accuracy of this weapon seems a little bit worse than it was in previous seasons. Damage though has not been changed. However, you can hip fire more effectively than the burst, which is why it sits just above it on this list. And hey, I've always loved the AR, always will love the AR, so it's got a solid positioning for where it is at the moment. Moving on to the top 10 list. Just before we get into it, if you guys are using any of these weapons, you want to be hitting your shots. And I'm going to let you guys in on a little bit of a secret, letting you know how you can hit your shots a lot better. I'm going to give you guys a closer look at the Control Freak Battle Royale Performance Thumbsticks. Adding height and grip to your thumbsticks means an increased range of motion, which allows for super precise movements and shots at both close range and those super long range snipes as well. With the use of Control Freaks, you can bump your sensitivity up up while still maintaining those really fine, accurate shots. A higher sensitivity with better aim means you can build faster, shoot better. It is literally the best of both worlds, and the specific Battle Royale design thumbsticks has an awesome design to them, including the map grid, layered with also rings, which is obviously for the Storm as well. It not only looks great, but it's going to improve your game. They also come in 2 color variations and can be used on any games that you're playing, Modern Warfare when it comes out, Apex, you name it, Control Freaks will help you improve. For an additional bonus, Control Freak have also launched their brand new grips. You can apply these anywhere on your controller for additional grip. These are easy to apply and remove, so you can test them out wherever you want on your controller for comfort, grip, and ultimately just making the best controller possible for a super cheap price. I'll leave a link down below where you can check out the Battle Royale Control Freaks and also a bundle that includes the grip and Control Freaks as well. If you use the Allier code at the checkout, you get an additional 15% off. So if you've never tried them, with the brand new launch of a new season, you definitely want to be improving your aim, so give these guys a go. You won't regret it. Now that the Control Freaks are on the way to you and you've got your aim improved, let's move on to the top 10, kicking off with the SMG. You can't go wrong with this thing. Great for hip firing, fast fire rate for shooting through build. This thing is really good except for the super long ranges, which obviously you shouldn't be using it at anyway, and gets a very respectable spot on this list. At number 9, we have ourselves the lower end of the snipers. As I already explained, aside from the grey version, just leave that thing alone, to be honest with you. The green and the blue version are going to ultimately do the same damage as long as you're landing that headshot as the better variants. They're going to be more common and easier to find, and with there being a limited selection of Fortnite weapons in the current pool anyway, it's worth holding a sniper, and they're not too hard to find. These things are going to take out a lot of people. I did a lot of damage with it in my fishing only challenge, and I would definitely recommend it. At number 8, the tactical shotgun. Why is this sitting so much further above the pump shotgun? Well, with the damage changes done to the pump, the difference between lower end spectrum of the tac shotgun and the pump shotgun is very, very small. And with a far faster fire rate on the tactical shotgun and a quicker reload, when you're first landing in, I would far recommend the tac over the pump. I know it seems weird because we're so used to using the pump for those big body damages in previous seasons, but trust me, at least initially when you're landing and finding the lower rarity weapons, you're gonna want the tac shotgun, and that's why it's sitting so far up on this list. At number 7, a new addition to Fortnite, we have the epic and legendary pistols. These things not only look absolutely awesome, but sound awesome as well. And I've seen many of you guys telling me that you've been picking these things up and destroying them. Not only can it shoot really quickly if you've got a fast trigger finger, but it can break through walls, it can eliminate people at close range, and if you're getting those 100% accurate shots at distance as well, the damage drop-off isn't too significant, so this thing can deal a lot of damage pretty much everywhere. They're not easy to find, but if you do pick them up, give them a go, and trust me, you're gonna have a good time. They're awesome. At number 6, not too far ahead of its lower rarity counterpart, we do have the top version of the tactical shotgun. This thing is still really awesome, but the damage difference between the lower end and the higher end doesn't change too much. It obviously looks a little bit cooler and is still a solid shotgun if you haven't found a better version of the pump. But compared to some of the weapons we're about to jump into in the top 5 list, it just sits outside of it and isn't quite making it on there. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're ready for the top 5 weapons in Chapter 2, smash that thumbs up button, get your notepad ready, because we are about to jump into it with, at number 5, the RPG. Yes, a weapon that hasn't been easy to find in Fortnite for a while now, and it is now got its own variation all the way from grey all the way up to legendary, and I've just grouped them all together because these things are awesome. Not only are they far easier to find now, but on top of the fact that there is a limited number of weapons to use, it could easily fit in that 5th slot. You've already seen me use it this season. It's a great way to shoot people out of builds, to break people's walls, or just to deal a load of damage if someone's trying to build on you. These things are awesome and should definitely be holding down one of your slots, especially if you're finding the even cooler looking epic and legendary version. At number 4, the P90. That is right, now sitting at the top end of the SMG spectrum. This thing is ridiculous. Once you start finding the epic and legendary version, it becomes a 5-hit machine, which means it can melt people super quickly because of its insane fire rate. And up close and personal, it can sometimes beat a shotgun and is well deserving of being towards the top of this list. Not quite making it into the top 3, however, we've got a lot of great weapons left. At number 3, you may have been shocked by the fact that its lower rarity counterparts were so low on the list. However, the epic and legendary version of the pump are back in the game, and oh boy, are they seriously good. They do unfortunately still deal a little bit less damage than they did originally in the previous seasons, but once you work yourself up to the epic and legendary version, their base damage is 100, which means just a pump to the body will take someone out if they've got no shield super easily. And obviously, if you're going for those upper body shots and headshots, this thing is going to melt people. I would definitely say that the higher end, go for the pump. The lower end of the rarity, go for the tack. That's probably the new shotgun meta at the moment and is why it's in the number 3 spot. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we make our way into the top 2, we only have 2 weapons left. The brand new legendary looking burst or the original and amazing Scar. Which one do you think is going to make the top position? Let me know down below in the comment section, because trust me, both of these things are amazing, but which one is it going to be? At number 2, we are going to see ourselves. It is going to be the burst. Now, don't get me wrong, this thing looks amazing, looking like an AUG, which you may have seen in other weapon games as well. Although it looks different and looks extremely cool, technically the statistics of this weapon are identical for what we saw for the famous, the original epic and legendary burst within Fortnite. It just looks a little bit different. This weapon definitely has an advantage at shooting through walls, however, with the 3 bullets going off in a continuous stream. If the first or second bullet breaks the wall, then the third one will go through and connect on the enemy, and for that reason it is really strong and is one of the reasons it gets that second slot. It's also not very easy to find at all, but is definitely one of the best guns currently in the game. That means obviously moving into the number 1 spot, it is a tough weapon to beat. It has probably sat here for most of Fortnite's history. It is the Scar. This thing still absolutely annihilates people, being a 3-shot kill with no damage drop off, with it having a good fire rate, looking amazing, sounding amazing. You're still going to be wanting to hold this thing and find it and keeping it as your main AR in Fortnite. It's not a surprise, it is certainly very good, and it does complete our top list from worst to best of all Fortnite weapons in the current version of Fortnite. Don't forget, guys, if you want to be using any of these weapons and improving your aim, make sure you pick up a Battle Royale Control Freak and get yourself some grips as well. I'll leave a link down below in the description. Go and check them out. Trust me, they are well worth it, really inexpensive, and it will improve your game massively. If you've got any differences or anything you disagree with in this list, do let me know down below in the comment section as well. And no doubt throughout Chapter 2, we'll be getting new weapons added, so stay tuned to see them first right here on the channel as well. I hope you've enjoyed. You can check out more videos on screen here in case you've missed them. Have an amazing rest of the day. I'll see you on the channel very shortly for more videos, I'm sure, and I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.